I know for sure that I had a picture, of my life partner. Picture was there since I was a teenager. So it was very easy for me. The moment I saw her, I said, she's it.
We are going on a drive, we are just looking at buildings.
I had Harmony Lifestyle as a name,
Oh.
but as a developer, it took me about 5-6 years to actually crystallize myself.
So what did you do before being a developer? Manifestation you think is important?
Very important.
Can we say that this is your secret sauce?
The moment we kind of said yes, though we were in the same city, he would write me these long letters.
You actually grew up together. That's what makes you a perfect couple now. Welcome to the Hashtag Show. Today's episode, we are featuring a remarkable couple who I happen to know them for last 35 years from the day I got married, because today's show we are hosting none other than my brother-in-law Deepak Jain and Pooja Jain. Deepak is the MD and CEO of Harmony Lifestyle Group, real estate development company, and Pooja Jain, who is the founding managing trustee of the Harmony Lifestyle Foundation, which is their CSR vertical. Together, they have built not just a thriving real estate business, but also have a beautiful family, and they have a very strong social presence. Let's dive into their journey as entrepreneurs, as life partners, as business partners, and as parents. So welcome Deepak and welcome Pooja.
Thank you.
Thank you so
It's a
much.
wonderful feeling. It's a family feeling here.
Likewise.
Likewise, right? So very, very quick, both of you. You have had incredible journeys together, both professionally and personally. Can you tell us a little about your paths? How have you met and how have you supported each other to grow, and how have you developed your journey? As life partners, as business partners, entrepreneur, way you would like to narrate your story. Pooja, Deepak, whoever
You want to
wants to start.
Yeah, so ours was, Jaji, a typical arranged marriage. We met through a pandit, and I was just 20 years. He was also 25, which is very young, I think, by today's standards.
Very young, right?
Yeah. So we met, and I think it was like a very quick decision on the first meeting itself. That's how it used to happen, I think, on those times. And we decided to tie the knot, not knowing what we are getting into. And but I guess we've been fortunate that many of our value system, thought processes have been alike. And we've been like friends growing together on this journey, and God's been kind, so things have panned out well for us.
How many years, Deepak?
So I remember the day also.
Go ahead.
It was 7th May 1995, and I don't know about Pooja, but I know for sure that I had a picture, of my
Oh.
life partner.
So you
And-
had a picture in your mind.
I had a picture. Absolutely, I had a picture, and the picture was there since I was a teenager, and so it was very easy for me. The moment I saw her, I said,
That's
"She's
it. Woman of your dream.
No more. Absolutely, she was like
Perfect.
perfect."
Great.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. So we've spent a lot of time, Pooja, Deepak,
Yeah.
especially the last year. I've had some lovely, memorable moments with you in your house. And it has been very, very, fulfilling, rewarding for me also. Because, every conversation, Pooja, Deepak, you learn. And that's what this show is all about. We kept it little bit of script, little bit off the script. So it's more of a dil se conversation where we have a heart-to-heart discussion. And the perspective of this show is also that through every individual, Deepak, Pooja, we strongly believe that they have a story of theirs, and it's inspiring. So this whole, whatever the next 45, 50 minutes conversation is going to be your story, your experiences, your thoughts. And, we always believe and we always think a lot of times that I'm not going to be that impactful in life. But you never know that any one, sentence, a few words can impact others.
True.
So that's what this conversation is all going to be about. So we'll have a script, but still we'll, as I said, we will talk as the natural flow goes. So Pooja, you have been a cornerstone in the philanthropic efforts of Harmony Lifestyle Foundation, and you have been active in the Indian stock markets, which whatever I have known you. How do you balance your various roles, and how has been your contribution to the Harmony Lifestyle Group overall growth of the last 30 years or 25 years of
So I think we never really discussed that who should be doing what, but it was just naturally decided that he would look after the more professional and business side. And since we were in a nuclear setup, my focus in the initial years was definitely on the kids. But I always had a desire to focus on giving back to society. And Deepak also always believed that God has been kind to us and we should give back. His family has set up a 100-bed hospital in Udaipur, Jaji, which you're
I'm
aware
aware
of.
of, yes.
There's a ward set up in another hospital, and I joined Rotary with the sole purpose of giving back to society because Rotary believes on service above self, and through that platform, I got exposed to various avenues of giving, because you also want to give in the right direction. And this year, we've been a major donor. We've just started our journey of giving back, I believe, through Rotary and our foundation. And we are focusing on healthcare, environment, sustainability, and always looking out for the right people and want to go in that direction.
Very nice. Deepak, you also want to add something? I think because we as individuals, and like she said, I always say that we are very blessed. The pandemic has gone, hardly any impact. Little bit of financials ups and down. I think that's all good enough. What is your take on giving back to society?
Jaji, the whole idea when I started off was to create a balance. So even the name of my company was Harmony Lifestyles. So actually, I thought deep into a name which I wanted, which would resonate with what I want to do for the world, how I see the world. So harmony really is creating a balance between your inside and outside world. And if you have to do that, you have to try to get all perspectives in place. So of course, your work is important, your career is important, but at the same time, the family is really important. You need to have a perspective of giving back, which Pooja, for her, it just came naturally. So trying to balance all these areas. So that's really been the focus, and trying to live up to the name and trying to have that focus, imbibed into yourself, as you move and navigate this journey of life.
So very interesting, right? When you have a brand name,
Yeah.
which is Harmony, you've developed millions of square feet. You've got projects going on. You have a CSR vertical, a foundation right now. So it's important that the right name is there, so that, like you said, your value system, everything resonates, it gets connected. Is that what you're saying?
It comes naturally because when you look at your name, you look at your logo, it sends a message to you that this is what you have set yourself.
Reflection of yourself?
It's a reflection of yourself. This is what you have to live at. There are moments when you actually go wayward. It's natural. It's a human nature. But it gets you back to your focus, your vision, your larger picture which you have. So it really helps.
It helps. Very nice. So Deepak, now what? How many years have you been leading the Harmony story now? It's like, how many years you've been as a developer?
So as a developer, my father, he had a background. He's built his own modest legacy. The whole idea was to actually have a brand which is kind of universal, which I felt that it need not be with a family name, but it got to be with a name which is kind of universal, which resonates with people around the world, actually, not only India. So it's been about 28 years. We got married in 1995. So ever since, that's when the journey started. And it's been exciting.
So more than 2 decades, nearing the
almost 3 decades.
Almost 3 decades now.
Yeah.
What was your first challenge? So at a very young age, you're in your 50s now, and what was the first major challenge or the major hurdle you would have had at that point of time as a young developer? Though you are a second entrepreneur, a second generation entrepreneur. Last show we had Harshul, who is again a second generation entrepreneur. So he made that, he communicated to us that it's always easier comparatively for a second generation developer as compared to a first time developer. So as a second entrepreneur, where do you think, as a second generation developer, what were the challenges you still faced? And how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I entered the industry, I finished my management, I did my MBA. So I had a certain mindset that this is how, work should behave.
So, but you were sure that you're going to be a developer because
Uh,
you had a.
no, I wasn't sure,
You were not
honestly.
sure.
I wasn't sure because I did at least 7 to 8 activities
Before being a developer.
before being a developer.
Though you already had a real estate company even then.
I had a name. I had Harmony Lifestyle as a name.
Oh.
But as a developer, it took me about 5-6 years to actually crystallize myself.
So that means though you had a development company, which
Yes.
is my father-in-law, your
Yes.
father's company,
Yes.
you still experimented, explored, whatever word you want to say, with other business ventures.
Correct.
Before becoming a developer.
Just like any young man, he's just come back from his MBA. He wants to prove himself to his father.
So tell us,
wants
very
to-
interesting. So,
So-
what did you do before being a
so
developer?
I-
This is also
I
a little
did-
bit news to me.
Yeah.
When
So
I,
there were many activities. So I started, that time there was this Harshad Mehta thing going on. So I delved a little bit into stocks.
You did?
I thought I'll be a stock trader. I wanted to, that time there was, plastic was considered as the new sunrise industry.
Correct.
So I went deep into that. I wanted to set up a plastic factory.
You actually thought of that?
Yeah, I went quite deep. Everything what I'm talking to you, I've
So
spent,
you
I've
spent-
spent months and years into it.
Oh, so I'm talking to a developer who also had already done stock trading
Yeah.
and who was venturing into a plastic.
Who wanted to set up an industry.
There could be another Neil Kamal plastic.
Yes. In fact, they were one of those names which I studied.
Oh.
Yeah. So I did that. Then I was into imports and exports. I did a couple of transactions of exporting garments.
You did that. You did garment exports also.
I did garments exports.
Export.
I imported petrochemicals.
Oh, you did that also.
Yeah. As a young guy, you want to do all of these things.
This is very interesting. So, guys, this is amazing as far as I'm concerned. Though being my brother-in-law, I did not even know about this.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Carry on. So, what
Yeah.
else did you do?
So I did all of this. Then I was part of this international group. I was always very fond of technology. And so I became a part of this international group called the York Group International.
This I'm aware of.
Yeah, so we had a presence in 24 countries. So the chairman said that why don't you look after the Indian operations? So I did a lot of activities. I did 2-3 events with NASSCOM. We used to help basically software product companies build international markets for their products. So that looked as a good opportunity, but there I felt that the network was a bit loose, so I didn't really go deep into it. And you wouldn't believe this, Jaji, but I also tried my hand into politics a bit.
Okay, cool. Interesting. I would love to know this. This is something interesting.
So, this young man who wants to really make an impact to the world, I thought maybe politics is one area which you can actually make a difference, through which you can make a difference. So that time, of course, in the 90s, Congress was a party. So, and I had this friend of mine who, was the president of his club, and he had this ambition of being a political leader. So he said, Deepak, why don't you join me? Together we'll make a difference with the world.
Correct.
So I had a stint where I visited Delhi a couple of times, met certain well-known political figures, but I just realized, this is a different ball game. And so all these activities over a period of time, I realized that, real estate is somewhere you can, you've got some sort of background, dad's modest legacy. So why don't you build up on that?
Correct.
Yeah.
But Deepak, here I want to also ask you, right? I've been in business, real estate now for 3 decades, little bit more than you, and just few years of difference in terms of starting up. But I believe all these ventures and all these exposures which you had, I think that has what made you a different, I would use it as an entrepreneur as compared to be a developer. Typically, whatever I've known in the last 3 decades, a lot of my developer friends, they're only focused on buying a land, developing it and selling it. That's it. Unka wohi ek soch hai, which is very narrow. Do you think that this, because of your MBA, because of the opportunity which you had to explore and delve into these different kind of, entrepreneurial stints, if I can call them, does that make a difference, as a person, as a human being.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
a father of two young boys,
Yeah.
shaping the, and which I will then come to Pooja, how her role, and I'm sure she had a very significant role in shaping both our boys' career. So, what do you think that also would made
Yeah,
has
I
made a
think
difference?
absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a inner kind of burning desire to do something. Of course, real estate that time was not very organized. It wasn't so professional, and it's an inner urge which you want, to kind of fulfill your certain needs. It's a personal, more than professional. It was a personal thing to make a difference and to do these activities. And like what you rightly said, it does make a difference. When you've gone through it, it doesn't matter whether you've really added to the bottom line or you've made tons of money, but the whole journey of navigating through all these activities and all these things, and everything I did, I thought I'm going to go and be a political leader, or I'm going to be a big importer, I'm going to be a big exporter. So it was
So you're
done.
ambitious.
I was ambitious and I was focused in that. It wasn't something loose. So when I was doing it, I
So
knew
you spend your time
I
into it.
spent my dedicated
Energy.
time. I did do that. Yeah.
Pooja, how would you say, like, you being a wife, being a spouse, whatever I know about you, you yourself
So
are
when
ambitious.
I got married to Deepak, by then he had already decided to focus on real estate. So I've not seen his
The earlier part, yeah.
previous activities, but I think from day one I saw him really passionate
And
about
focused,
it.
whatever I know.
And I mean, it's a natural thing. Like if we are going on a drive, we are just looking at buildings. We are, I mean, now it comes naturally to me also that, okay, this is a nice building, this is a good facade. And he's always tried to, looked at the customer as more of giving him something with a value add. Like today, buildings have all amenities and everything. Deepak always had that vision.
So I remember, when
Yeah.
the one of the Thane projects, you've done
Yeah.
good development in Thane. How many square feet have you built in Thane?
So that's about 7 lakh square feet.
7 lakh square feet, right? So one of the building I remember where, again, this is about 10, 12 years back. That's when, RERA was not there. So Deepak has been one of those, like Pooja was talking about, passionate and compassionate as a developer. And he is compassionate as a human being also. So I remember you had that handover ceremony, and this is one thing about more than a decade back.
Right.
And you had also made a garden in name of your mother and my mother-in-law, Kusum Jain. So how was that of interest to you? Again, this is all part of what we are discussing about being passionate, being compassionate. Like he said, that customer always been first. Again, we are talking 10, 12 years back, much before even RERA came in. So how was that thought which was there in your mind?
So my thought really was that I have to identify with my customer. So I had the opportunity of actually speaking to a lot of them on one-to-one basis. So I've got about 400 apartments there, and I must have met more than 150 people personally. And so we had this launch when you had not the launch, the handover.
The
time.
handover ceremony. I was very happy when I saw that.
It was a time when you kind of convey your feelings to your people, and they kind of identify you as a human being, rather than a
Just a
developer,
developer.
as a developer. And there was one big eye opener that time. I must share this with you. Is that I had this testimonial done, and the greatest satisfaction was when these families, and looking at these families, how they're actually using the garden, how they are using, all the open space. That was really refreshing and very satisfying to see those smiles in these young families. So I think that really came as
So
an eye opener.
you are saying now, again, it's becoming a practice now. Again, this is talking about more than a decade back, that you will create a bond between your home buyers.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes. It's a bond, and
And you relish it and you enjoy it.
I think.
So now
I
when you
do.
go back to the project, because you've got another 2 phases or one more phase.
Yes.
So you meet.
So it is, the mindset has more shifted towards, now you start off with what is going to bring a customer delight. What is really going to satisfy them, and then you work backwards. How the product and how the entire experience is going to make a difference to their lives. You start thinking on those lines. So it's a question of, but it's always starts off with the intent, to see that joy and happiness in the family's life.
So now you're leading this entire development. Let's focus on the development part now. 20 odd years or as many years now. Tell us about the most challenging time which you had. And I think I can say that you are a debt-free company, unlike a lot of other developers. And Pooja will agree because we have a lot of common friends.
Yeah.
And then we have that. I think I'm going to talk, there are going to be two questions straight here. One, you as a developer, and one as a spouse. Because, a lot of developers who are in debt and who have a bad time now. And I will not talk about intent right now because that's not my perspective. I always say every developer's intent is always good. And I don't want to talk about developers with wrong intent, but developers who had challenging times. They had either they made wrong decisions or the market trend has not been with them. I will discuss that now in the same question here. I think spouse goes through a lot of pain, irrespective how bad the time is. The spouse is going through a lot of change. She sees her husband suffer, right? So tell us something challenging where you thought, it's difficult. How did you cope with that? And what was Pooja's role in that? And as partners, both as life partners and business partners, how did you overcome that challenge? Anything which you can think of.
So yeah, I mean,
At any point of time.
you already know. I think the last 5-7 years have been pretty much challenging
For all of us, I would say that.
for all of us, and particularly the real estate, because there were so many policy changes. There was so much of transformation happening.
Major transformation.
There was major. You had RERA coming in. You had GST coming in. You were in a scenario wherein even the policymakers were not sure about what's happening. So this left a very uncertain climate, And during that time, Pooja and me, we bought a new house. The boys were growing big and they had their own ambitions. So that was a period where, I felt personally that a lot of things are coming together. And how am I going to manage all of this? But, when you have somebody like Pooja, who's like a friend, a philosopher, a guide, she's been there, hands-on. So that whole journey, you were able to navigate that really well.
Yes.
And I think those times where we could make communications and, where you are able to talk your heart out and then talk to her about everything. It does not need to make sense, all the time. So I think that really helped, and, time really passes once you have that support, you have that.
Any frustration at that point of time? When things start coming all against you, right? There were moments, there were debt, there was bank loan, incomplete projects, like you said, two boys growing up in front of you. They have their own perspective of life, might want to join you, might not want to join you. You would want them to join you. There were multiple mixed emotions going at that point of time. Everybody went through. You had the pandemic. So what was in your mind at that point of time? And,
there was.
And how did you kind of, come out of it, if I can say
So there were a lot of doubts, lot of fears. You kind of
Sleepless nights?
many sleepless nights.
Graying of hair?
Graying of hair. Of course, now I've kind of colored it. But you had more than your share of struggles.
So let us know. So this will be insightful for friends of ours who would be watching this podcast, and give them some insight, give them some tips. Because I also would now want to add something about my father-in-law and your father. There's a lot of credit goes to him, when he always used to tell you and me both. Two things what I learned from him. One, never take debt, don't take loan, don't go for funding. And Pooja, I think you will also resonate with my thought process.
Yes.
I think that's impactful for all three of us sitting here today. That
Yes.
all of us here are debt free. We don't owe anybody. Whatever is ours, whatever we have is ours. I think that again, a lot of credit to my father also being a doctor. Again, a very humble person. So we never stretched ourselves outside our limits where other friends of ours have, where they are suffering comparatively, and their families also have to go through this. So you believe in this theory, right? Of not.
I think intent matters a lot, Jaji. When you have a good intent, your desire is not just for yourself. you're also working for the larger good. Like I've seen Deepak, like a relative of mine bought a flat in our Thane, this thing, and they changed their mind after some time. Not did he also return the money, he was very gracious to even give the interest on that money, which I don't think any developer would do.
So want to say that, want to elaborate on that, because
so
you being
I asked
common
him
friends.
that question. So he said, no, every person, not just because he or she is a relative, every person should feel happy, in our business thing with him. So I think his intent and faith, we've always, like I practice Buddhism, and Deepak also believes a lot in the higher thing. So I think faith and a outlook that, whatever's happening, if your intentions are right and you're on the right path, things will pan out in the right direction. I think that really helps you tide over those times. And when you're together as a couple in the journey, you are supporting each other all the time. At the end of the day, if I am down, he's there. If he's down, I'm there.
You feel content?
So yeah.
A lot of content.
So I think, and he's been there for every PTA meeting of the kids. He's spent so much time with the kids.
Let's now talk about family.
So all that has, I think, which, he's not been like just money and projects.
Very balanced.
Yes, he's actually
but at
tried
the
to
same
harmonize.
time, just like to answer your earlier thing, to take off that, from the outside world, it looks like, it's like a painless journey. But like I said, you've had more than your share of struggles, doubts, which stretched for many, many years, and, which affects your health.
It drains you, yeah.
It
it's
affects
an
your
emotional
health,
drain.
it's helps your mentality, and you kind of start doubting your very
your own decisions, right?
decisions. So of course you've had that, but when you reflect back, you realize that these are the moments which have made you stronger, which have made you more resilient, and a better human being and a more satisfied individual.
So you believe in that?
Of course,
It's better to be a good human being rather than being a very rich kind of a businessman.
Yeah. I mean, we've just seen how Ratan Tata,
what a journey,
how he's
and
inspired.
What a goodbye.
Yeah.
And I think
everybody was emotional when we lost him.
Correct.
I've never seen such a grief. The entire country was in grief.
Correct. So I remember reading his article where he talks about being a compassionate businessman. I mean, if you can actually have these two things, I think you're a winner.
Great. So you've been living it.
I believe in it.
And you're living it.
Living it, yes.
Yes. So Pooja, tell us about, we got two lovely boys, right?
Yes.
And mothers are, they play an important role in grooming their kids. But knowing you for so many years, woman of substance, you will be now 50 years.
Not yet.
No, she will be. She will be. So it's a journey, where you have been given this title, which you well deserve, which we all believe. As a brother-in-law, also I believe that you have played an important role in this family, bringing us all together, keeping us all together, raising two lovely kids. Both our boys are in the US right now. So tell us this perspective of you as a mother. How did you play that role? And having two young boys. So any story you want to tell us, or how did you, you are a daughter yourself. So right from what you learned from your parents, and how have you raised both your kids? Let us hear something from you.
As a young person, I always valued education a lot. And that was the thing I wanted, that my husband in that young age should be an MBA at least.
So that was one thing, one tick you got when you got Deepak.
That was my thing, and I also was very happy.
So she could overlook the other ones. Everything else.
Deepak, now you can say that. That I got a wife of my dream only because of my MBA.
Yes.
Because that was on her list, as a checklist.
And I was very happy that his two sisters are doctors. And, he's studying law. So I was very happy to be from a Marwari conservative family, to be marrying into another family, but which is so educated. So that was something I felt I always wanted to emphasize that for my kids also. That, always prioritize education and use your energies in the right direction. And we were fortunate, kids are bright, and they themselves were mentally stimulated, and they and we both were around for them. And they've gone on to make us proud. Maulik is studying in one of the best institutes in the world, doing his MBA, did his undergrad from a great Cambridge. And my younger one is again studying computer science at a very good place. So both of them, I think, also have been bright kids, I guess. And that has helped a lot. But I have also given my 100% as a mother, that they stay focused and
How
so-
important here, Pooja? Very important. You know, what we are now talking is about family values, talking about bonding, talking about ethics, we're talking about compassion. I think this is what is missing in today's time. So how are you, can you stress
So
a little
I
bit
think,
more on...
Jaji, kids
so-
learn basically by observation.
Okay.
You can't preach to them and do something else because they are very bright. They catch on very fast. So I think they observed us, and we are pretty simple in our lifestyle. We don't.
So you're
we are
saying
not
that the
into-
kids are going to ape you?
Yes. So
बच्चे
I
वही
think
करेंगे जो आप कर रहे हो।
they've just aped us. There was no conscious effort to keep preaching to them. Of course, we used
आप
to
जो
try.
कर रहे थे वो लोग follow कर रहे थे।
Yes, and that's how I think it's all worked out.
Great. So this is
Yeah.
being very... Pooja, tell us now more. Deepak has been talking about it. Tell us your now journey, little bit more as a wife, as a mother.
So, like
Just something you would like to share, any insights, any kind of episode in your life which you can think of right now, which will kind of put and bring all these things together. Anything which you feel like.
So, like I said, Jaji, I personally have gone with the flow. Deepak is more of a visionary here. He had a vision of a company and a home. I went in that direction along with him, and of course, there are many stories along the way. There were times when you feel low, you're having a challenge on the health front, or something or the other is going on. World around is so dynamic. COVID happened, but I think we just took it in our stride and always kept doing our best, and that's how things have worked well. And stay positive. I discovered Buddhism about the same time we bought this home 10 years back, and that helped me a lot to let go of my kids.
Manifestation, you think is important?
Very important. I think manifesting, prayer is very important. I think when you pray and believe that, my practice has given me the faith that what is happening for the best. It has helped us overcome the tough times.
What about gratitude?
Very
How
important.
important is gratitude?
Very important. Extremely important, because we are so fortunate. And the first thing Deepak and me, I think, now do in the morning is write the list of, things we are grateful for. And I think what you put out in the universe, you get more. If you're complaining, you get more to complain. If you're positive and happy, you get more to be positive and happy.
Deepak, you want to say something on that?
No,
I think gratitude is important, right? And actually,
Extremely.
whatever we're talking is people are forgetting about it. So this whole podcast is for them to understand the importance. That I consider that we are a typical middle class, we are an average family.
Correct.
So I want this story of an average family, so an average audience can relate to what we are saying. We are not the Ambanis or the Tatas of this world. And
Correct.
we don't even want to be there.
Correct.
So in our own right, in whatever we are leading, this is what we want to convey to the audience, to our friends who are following us. And you will also be, we're just about a month old. We already have 1,000 subscribers. And today my digital marketing team also told me that we have also got 50,000 likes. So our podcast is growing and we're very happy. So what do you want to say? Something more? Again, any story you would like to say about gratitude, about being compassionate?
No,
Something which somebody can, we can relate to.
Generally, being a conscientious person, if you are able to build a conscientious self, then everything which you do, will be natural. You shouldn't be making an effort towards, doing it should come effortlessly. But of course, it comes over a period of time. And if you develop that innate personality of being a conscientious person, so every person you relate to, you remember if he's done something, if he's added a good word if he's encouraged you in certain ways, you need to be thankful to him. You know, we are so thankful for being in this show of yours, you know.
Yeah, so this is the first couple show. My friends, we have shot 4 podcasts earlier. It has been on one-to-one podcast, and I wanted to make this more exciting, more fulfilling, more rewarding. And so you are the first couple podcast, and we'll continue. And hopefully we'll have some super celebrities and stars here on Pooja's chair or seat. We'll have Kajol and we'll have Ajay Devgan on your seat next time. So that's what the whole idea is.
Yeah.
That to bring in some known, some unknown, some balance, because that's what life is all about, right? So carry on. So what?
So the idea is, if you are able to develop this kind of innate awareness, you know, every interaction with another person or every situation, you look at it positively.
Correct.
And you look at it, you know, how it's actually made an impact to you, good or bad, because there's nothing as bad, you know, it's just an experience. And when you go back, you introspect, you look at these situations, and you're really grateful for whatever has happened. So you don't have any regrets. You know, I really think that, you know, you got to look forward rather than have any regrets, you know, of what's happened previously.
So Deepak, father of 2 kids, which we just said, we were talking about entrepreneur, right? You've been an entrepreneur, you've done multiple hats. Any lessons from your business leaderships which you are applying as a role as a parent? Anything which you have learned?
Correct. So I think I'd like to put it in these 3 P's.
Go ahead.
You know, so one is of course being positive.
Okay.
So whatever situation, whatever person, I think you got to be optimistic and positive.
Anil Kapoor used that word positive in one of his no entry movies. You know? He spoke about positive.
Correct.
So one is P is positive.
One is P is positive. The other is patience.
Very important. Patience.
You know, so you may be positive, but you need to be patient. That, you know, things are going to take time. You know, developing a project is going to take time. You know, you achieving your vision is going to take time, right? So you need to have patience.
So let's not be in a hurry. Let's take it
in
step
a
by
patient
step,
manner.
one
And
step
I
by
think
step.
the third P is perseverance.
Very important.
You know, so you got to be patient, but you got to be able to persevere. You got to keep doing it. Don't give up. You know, so I think that's really being.
So you've been
focus.
following these 3 Ps. Can we say that this is your secret sauce? Being positive. Yeah, seriously. It's
Correct.
very important, right?
Correct.
So these are the Deepak Jain's 3 Ps, guys.
Yeah.
Positive,
Patience.
patience, and
Perseverance.
We got 3 Ps here now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So
I thought Pooja will also come. 4
so we're going to change that.
That's the secret.
Yeah, so that's going to be a secret sauce. So come on, Deepak.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, just kidding. I'm
There is
there.
puja and there is puja. You know, the worship and the women. So
this is now getting interesting now. So we have the 4 Ps. Deepak, 3 Ps are what you've designed, and the 4th is your destiny.
is my destiny, absolutely.
So puja becomes your destiny,
Absolutely.
and the 3 are you following as a business mantra.
Correct.
Let's make this a little bit light also now. Now that we had some good, very nice conversation, very insightful. 2 things about puja which you just like, which you just love, which you just adore. 2 traits, any 2 traits.
I think there's so many traits.
I kept it to 2. I kept it to 2. Or 3, so I'll make it. So since we talk about 3 Ps, so let's talk about 3 traits which you like about Pooja.
So I think the very first trait is, you know, she being a emphatic listener. You know, so that empathy always comes in a communication. You know, so she'll look at you or she'll look at the situation, trying to understand the situation, and then she'll engage with you. So, you know, you kind of feel relaxed. So she's very empathetic, you know. And secondly, what comes again naturally is being very genuine. So it's not only me, but see, she's got tons and tons of friends. And
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about. There's one part which is part of my podcast.
Which is actually built our world. You know, our entire social world, world is because of her. You know, this nature of us being a genuine, empathetic listener. So people like it. People everybody like
And I
you
know her stories about how she's been helpful also.
Yeah.
She's been very helpful to her friends.
Correct,
So
correct.
we'll
So
talk to
she's-
that about.
So I want to tell you this, that she's got this very good friend who's a big authority, a life coach, and she's been a coaching the Miss Indias and the Miss Worlds. But when she comes and she takes counseling from her.
From her.
From her. And so I know in the morning if she's talking for that half an hour, whom she's talking to.
Great.
So I think that's what puts
Very nice.
this lady.
And what else? So we two traits you have told. One more trait now.
Yeah, and obviously, the way in which she's kind of managing the family,
The balance.
and the boys, and she can just come and give the advice to the boys because, of course, they have their share of problems. So I think that's been amazing. And of course, one trait is she's got this spark where she comes up with these business advice. So if you're stuck with some decision,
She comes there and she puts in.
intuitively she'll know what is to be done, and
And that's a game that can just put things in the right perspective, right?
Yeah.
One advice.
it's a
Great.
massive. You want to make it residential or commercial?
I'm a part
that
of
you're
that.
witness,
I'm a
you're
part of
witness to that.
She was, adamant.
Yeah,
You and I both were
Yeah.
very, very clear that we want to make it commercial.
yeah.
She was very, very clear.
Yeah.
I remember we were driving to Thane to the project. It took us about an hour, and she was convincing us
Yeah.
not to make commercial, make it residential,
Correct.
and which eventually we have.
And it took a lot of time, for me to change my mind. But she has a knack of doing it.
But we made it.
We made it
It's
clear.
residential now.
And then that was a winning advice.
Yeah. Great. That's a very good thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, Pooja, your three traits.
Again, so many traits.
I know.
Which
So that's
ones
what
do I
lovely.
pick?
That's why you are here on the first.
I think the
we
first
are calling
thing
it the
is
perfect couple podcast show.
his optimism. He always sees the brighter side.
Great,
Always.
very nice.
And it's always very positive. Even if something doesn't go his way, he'll get out of it really fast.
Very
and
nice.
look at the brighter side and work towards it. Secondly, his confidence. He's very, very, very confident about whatever
and
he's
Pooja,
doing.
here I also want to add here.
Yeah.
I think which is very interesting, right? And again, more than 3 decades of our relationship,
Yeah.
there is this, very balanced confidence.
Yes.
There's a lot of people who are overconfident.
Yes.
I've never seen
Yeah.
him being overconfident. I think that's also very important.
Yeah. It's not just confidence out of nothing.
Nothing.
There is a base to it,
Base to it.
and he actually knows where he's going, and is really optimistic, and conveys his confidence, gets other people also charged up. So that confidence, and thirdly, he's is very as a spouse been very, very supportive in whatever I'm doing, and encouraging me and motivating me to go out there, and if I have any doubt, he'll I was a very shy person. He's helped me get out of my shell. So
You actually were a shy person.
I
Pooja.
was very, very
It's hard
shy.
to believe.
I was very, very shy person. So Deepak's helped me a lot there. And he's
Wow.
always been pushing me to do things and supporting me. Okay, take up this, do this. So yeah. And
So that I have also seen, and I
Yeah.
think so that's what makes you a perfect couple now. We're going to be calling this a perfect couple. I think most of the time I've seen this where it's not that they are trying to be one up on each other, but at some point of time, it probably, unfortunately, it's the male. They don't want the female or the woman or the other's partner to grow that much. But that's what she's giving you the credit, is that you have supported her entrepreneurial journey, her personal journey, her personal life.
Yes.
She likes to be social, and that's what her trait is. She likes to,
I
spend
like
time.
people, yes.
You
I
like-
like
you're a
people,
more of a
and he's
people
never
person.
told me, okay, don't go out there, don't do this, don't do that.
So
Always
she encouraged that.
Yes.
So
yes.
I also remember, when I used to talk to you, and this is the tagline of this podcast, is you actually grew up together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to stress on that, because she said, because she was in her 20s.
I was in maybe 18.
So seriously, so how was this entire thing? So it's so beautiful. This is actually like a Bollywood movie right now, right? That so how did you both manage this growing up together? We've spoken in the last whatever half an hour, 45 minutes, but you want to just bring little things more, kind of put it together. Uh, in whatever, Pooja, you want to say something? Because it's an awesome journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's something which we all need to understand, which we all need to respect. And I will just want to add in from here, from my side, is that a lot of times, I think one of the most key, whatever I have learned here, is that the one single point where the happiness and the growth of your family and the family values, which both my nephews, both the kids I've seen, I think is communication. You'll agree?
Absolutely.
I think you were able to communicate, Pooja, to Deepak, whether you are feeling low or
Yeah.
you are not, or you
Yeah.
felt he was not right. And because he was able to understand you, you were able to. Do you also agree? Both of you agree that
Yeah, yeah.
success is communication?
Yeah. I mean, it's communication is so important. You know, every aspect of it we are able to communicate. So there is a comfort level, in the entire communication, and you know, like she's been a friend, a philosopher, a guide. So as a friend,
Same, likewise.
Likewise.
so I think, and I don't think there was any structure to our or strategy in
I don't
how
think this. So this is
there
one.
wasn't-
I
there
think
was-
this business is strategy. A relationship is not strategy.
Correct.
So in Marwari homes, typically men don't share so much with their wives. I've seen.
Correct.
They believe, this is a man's world and this
Yeah,
is a woman's
yeah,
domain and
yeah,
this is
yeah,
how it
yeah,
should be,
yeah, yeah.
But in our case, I think Deepak believed in open communication. Like the moment we kind of said yes, he would write, though we were in the same city, he would write me these long letters, talking about himself, his vision for his life, his family.
So you shared. So this
So
another very
always
Deepak,
share.
very
Yeah,
Pooja. This is
which
very
gets-
interesting.
Yeah.
Most of the men, and I'll come back to our Agarwal and Marwadi this thing. We don't relate that. पहली बात तो हम सोचते ही नहीं है कि क्या बोलना है यार अपने के वो घर का काम कर रही है ना उसका काम करने दो काहे वो हमारी जिंदगी में हमारे करियर में कुछ करने वाली. So you believed in that also. So
Yeah.
you shared
I believed.
your vision as an entrepreneur, that what an impact and difference you want to make in your life to your spouse, which is Pooja. You did that communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I said, I always thought that there should be a balance. You should have your family life, you should have your work life, and I think that's a 50-50%, contribution everywhere. In fact, I would put the family, a little bit having a higher edge over what your career is, because ultimately you got to come back to your family and your home. So that was really a priority, because if you were to live a kind of a balanced, happier life, I think you need to have that holistic kind of vision. I think that was really important. And then, of course, like you said, sharing. We shared. I mean, everything.
I think communication is
So
very
communication and shared vision now.
Yeah.
If I can use that.
And our value system was
Values were-
aligned to a great extent any which way. We both believed in the same things. So that helped a lot.
That helped a lot.
That helped a lot.
Let's kind of wrap this up in a nice perspective, Deepak and Pooja. It's been one of the, again, very interesting podcast today, unlike the other podcasts which I've had. And any tips now, you as a father, to the young kids who are listening you, could be Maulik's and Mahi's friends. And obviously, the most important part, this has been a very genuine and straight from the heart conversation, right? So as a father, as a husband to the other Poojas who are going to be watching you, that, perhaps some of them will talk to their husbands that, hey, you might become a role model, Deepak. Do you know this? This is going to have more than 10,000, 15,000 views.
So all my friends love him.
So all your friends love him.
And they say, like, you're so lucky.
You're so lucky.
Yes.
And
same with my
same. So I know some of my friends,
Yeah.
common friends who say that.
Who say that.
So I've seen that. So this is why the choice when I was talking and with my team and we were shortlisting the first couple, I said, "Nee, Deepak and Pooja are the best." We would want this couple to happen here. So yeah, go ahead. On a very serious thing now.
was that?
Pooja, you want to start? Very important. See, we got to understand this. That Joe, you said, हम जो करते हैं, हम जो भी हम people copy that. People ape it. Whether it's our children, whether it's our friends, whether it's our employees, our staff, our team. Because you somewhere or the other, Deepak, Pooja, we are role models in whatever aspect and whatever perspective it is. You want to say something on this? There are small tips in life for friends who are watching us to make their life more beautiful. To
As
make
a mother,
their
I would say be there for your children. Love, of course, is the underlying emotion. And when you are there for them, you spend time for them because that time flies so fast. I mean, today they are young adults, and I think that bond which you create at that time stays forever, and you're there and you're doing your best. Children feel secure.
they feel secure.
And they grow up to be balanced individuals, which is very, very important for them. And it's like a foundation is strong.
Yes,
So that
yes.
building itself comes up well.
Very nice,
So I
very
think as
good.
a mother, that is the thing. As a wife, we've, like I said, always communicated and been there and gone together in an alignment. I think if he has felt that somewhere I'm disagreeing, he's thought about it and at least given it consideration. And at times, of course, I've been wrong, like his vision has been right. So we've aligned there. So I think in a marriage, I think communication
Very
is the
important.
most important thing. And generally, I think pray, have faith, be positive.
nice.
The best will come, and gratitude.
Oh, very
Really.
good.
Yeah, gratitude.
Deepak, you want to add something now?
Yeah, I just would like to add is that if you can, because it's a very dynamic world, what's happened in the last 25 years of our lives, it's going to be a very different world next 25
Very
years.
interesting. Very interesting.
Because, you've got technology.
It's
you've
going to
got-
change faster now.
Yeah, so idea is, there's no formula or something which, these can apply. But if there is something, I would say, is to have a vision which encompasses or captures all dimensions, of life. So if you're able to do that, sometimes your career may be more important. Sometimes you need to focus more on your family. Sometimes it's community. So, but you need to have a vision, I think, for having all these aspects captured into your life. So you would be doing justice to that, in spite of all the struggles and challenges you may have. So that becomes easier to navigate. So
Very
if
nice.
you've got something, a vision for yourself, for your physical, for your mental and emotional well-being, you've got a vision for your work, you've got a vision for your family and for your community.
So this also reflects in your house you build.
Yes,
You
yes.
have a separate place for taking care of your mental health and your physical health. So you have created one space,
The
physical space.
tangible spaces.
Tangible
But I think
space.
the more important space is the space
Yeah,
you
both are
create
important,
inside.
right?
Yeah.
So it has to be both, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you're talking of health and wealth and
Yeah.
and prayers,
Yeah.
so if that is there physically,
Correct.
so you will do that puja, you will do that
Correct.
mantra,
Correct.
you will meditate, you will go
Correct.
to that little bit of weights. You have that there.
Yeah, yeah,
And that game, you have a lovely
Table tennis.
table tennis there in your house. Great.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting, Deepak and Pooja.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've kind of
podcast.
learned also while we are talking. You kind
So,
of learn also.
so Deepak, this is the 5th podcast. All the 4 podcasts, and every guest who was sat there on the couch, I had an educationist and had a very lovely kind of an discussion with him. And this is what even he said. And I think this is what talking is all about.
Yeah.
That it is, and that's why we keep saying that you will keep on learning. The more you communicate, the more you converse, the more you talk, it's more you're going to learn.
Yes.
And we learn from each other.
Yes.
So fantastic having you on the show.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
Beautiful session, and wish you all the very best, Pooja.
Thank you, Jal.
And Deepak, may you be happy, may you keep growing, keep spreading love, and looking forward to seeing both our kids coming back and taking this legacy forward in whichever career they will join you or they have their own future ready for them. We'll wish them also the best, Maulik and Mahir, and thanks for coming on the show. and take care and God bless.
Thank
So,
you,
Jai ji,
Jerry.
thank you so much for this opportunity of giving us this platform.
Yes.
And I don't think it would be possible without you actually.
So
And because we've known you and you've been so relaxed, and I think it really helps.
So very good. And I also want to take this opportunity that today we're also going to be formally launching our community. So you talk about the 3 Ps. So I talk about our business, 3 Cs we call it. So one is the content. This is what we are. This is where we can relate with our clients, our partners, and all those who are watching us. We want to create as insightful, as dil se straight to heart content. Second is the community. So we want to build the community of our investors, of all our entrepreneurs. So since the name is called the hashtag show, the name of the community is going to be called the hashtag circle. So today we're going to be formally announcing our community.
Fantastic.
So
We wish you all the best,
thank,
Jai.
yeah,
I'm
so
sure
I thought
All the best,
let me
Jai.
say that.
It's gonna make a better world.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, and we believe in that, and that's what the entire conversation is all about: is what is that impact you're going to make, and the third C is commerce. So we're creating an Asset Invest is the name of our platform, where we've started work on, and we'll be announcing the launch of our commerce platform, where we're going to be talking, where the platform itself is going to be talking about the alternative investments, which we believe is the new in thing other than the traditional investments. So this is what it's all about. So please follow us. The hashtag show and the hashtag circle is the community which we are launching today formally. Thanks for watching us, and
you so much.
thanks for keep
Thank you.
subscribing. Thank you very
so
much.